You're just another piece on the chess board. And this is checkmate!
In the future, humans are able to use Jushiki powers that can allow them to become overpowered warriors. Now, we are taken to the Imperial year 497, where a man named Gaius Sore fights an epic red dragon and defeats it with his magical blade. Later, he chats with his partner Gigina Ashley about their jobs as offensive Jushikists, and it leads to a brief argument, after which they are attacked by an elite-level dragon named Nvol. Gigina transforms into his battlesuit and an intense encounter breaks out, but the dragon is too strong for the warriors and wins the first round with its dragon breath. Luckily, the boys unite their powers and defeat the beast after another session. The next day, Chief Cesarin rebukes Gaius and Gigina for being reckless and refuses to pay them, despite the bounty of an 800-class dragon. Meanwhile, Queen Zenobia chats with their subjects regarding the current state of affairs, and then we see the priest Mouldeen deciding to travel to Eridana. Gaius meets the journalist Arzel, who likes taking pictures of him, and then she talks about a serial murderer who is attacking Jushikists. Gaius doesn't seem to care about her theory, so he goes to his office and finds Gigina training with his dragon sword. He mentions the recent bounty from Rolka's shop, and then Gigina shows off his overpowered gems. Later, Gaius learns that Cesarin has put out a bounty on our heroes as a joke, and then he meets his girlfriend Givunia, also known as Jiv. After enjoying a meal together, they have some fun. Meanwhile, the murderer Nvol continues to carry out her killing spree in order to avenge her dead husband. Gaius and Jiv want to go for round 2, but are interrupted when he is called for some work. He makes fun of Gigina and his playboy ways as they go to meet Helodel, who is also Gaius' school friend. Helodel says that Mouldeen is visiting the city for a cultural festival, and their heroes are asked to be his tour guides. This upsets Gaius as he will not be able to go on his date with Jiv, but he agrees to the job. Later, he learns about Genon, who is one of the 12 winged generals and can also change his form into anyone. As they continue guarding the holy priest, our heroes talk to him about the war between humanity and dragons, but Mouldeen doesn't seem to be bothered by the current state of unrest. Then, Gaius has a drink with Helodel, and they talk about their loved ones, Shifaka and Alciel, both of whom are now dead. Meanwhile, Mouldeen meets Nvol and instructs her to continue with his sinister plan. Gaius gets drunk on the job, so Gigina has to take him away. The partners get into a hilarious argument, after which they notice Nvol killing yet another Jushikist. She is revealed to be a gravity Jushikist, so she is able to take on both warriors at the same time. Nvol identifies the duo as the killers of her beloved Nvol and decides to get her revenge. An intense battle breaks out and our heroes gain the upper hand after understanding her powers. But then Nvol breaks free, so they make their escape. The demon witch also seems to have left a piece of clothing on Gigina's blade, so they decide to inspect it. After handing over the cloth to Rolka, Gaius meets Jiv, who forgives him for canceling the date, but also sends him for a bath as he smells like a sewer. He asks his friend Vinil for information on Nvol, and then he goes to buy some food for Gigina, who is shown to be a bad driver. They meet the priest later and get into a strange argument regarding Gaius' activities with Jiv and Gigina's weird obsession with furniture. Later, Gaius debates the existence of gods with Mouldeen, but he reasons that the world cannot exist without deception. Then Gigina and Gaius comes across more dead bodies and are attacked by a mysterious cult of demon warriors. They defeat their opponents, but an explosion is triggered, so Gaius goes to Mouldeen to sort out his escape. Gigina defeats the remaining demons with ease, and then they are attacked by a ninja named Kurakao. An intense battle follows, and then Gaius uses a finisher move, but is caught in the recoil and has a vision of Alciel dying in his arms. He wakes up in a hospital next to Jiv, and she hugs him out of relief. Her nurse Noje and her fellow doctors are unable to understand how Gaius was miraculously revived, but they don't question it any further. Mouldeen comes to visit him, and Gaius realizes that this is the real priest, as the previous version was simply Genon in disguise. That's when Mouldeen reveals that Helodel is a traitor and sets off an explosion in the car to kill him. Gaius is shocked to learn that even the demon ninjas from before were under Mouldeen's payroll. And then the priest mentions that this war is going to get even uglier. He goes back to Curacao, but Gigina confronts them about their evil plans. He attacks Mouldeen but is unable to break through his Jushiki barrier, so he rebukes him and leaves. Later, Jiv and Gaius have a romantic evening together, now that he has fully recovered. Our hero goes back to work and learns from his team that there is no record of Nvol and her cloth was actually biological material. Noje calls the duo and asks for help, but Gaius realizes that this is a trap and identifies Noje to be Ganon. Then they meet the Rocky brothers, Jesper and Berdred, who unleash a dragon upon them. An intense battle breaks out between Jesper and Gigina, while Ganon transforms into another dragon to attack Gaius. Luckily, he uses a poisonous gas to defeat the dragons, and even Gigina dominates Jesper after a brief struggle. However, the Rocky brothers join forces with Ganon to launch a second attack, while Nvol watches from the background. The partners team up and take on their opponents in round 2, but are dominated and things start to look bad for them. However, Nvol surprisingly shows up and kills Ganon, after which she defeats the Rocky brothers with ease. Gaius thanks her for saving his life, but she reveals that she wants to be the one to kill him and Gigina for what they did to her husband. We also learn that she was the one who brought Gaius back to life after the battle with the demon ninjas. Nvol is revealed to be an Alter 1000 class black dragon, who is powered up by a magical gem that makes her unbeatable. She instantly kills Gaius and brings him back to life as she wants to make him suffer. Then the warriors combine to defeat the overpowered dragon, but she revives herself with a gem and has them both pinned down. That's when Gaius remembers Helodel and sacrifices his arm to unleash his true powers and destroy the gem, thus finally allowing him to defeat Nvol. Gaius faints after this, but is luckily healed by Dr. Jeanne, who is shown to be an eccentric organ artist. She mentions that a monster has come to see Gaius and it is revealed to be Mouldeen. The priest tries to put up an act, but Gaius exposes his plan, after which Mouldeen reveals that everything has happened just as he had wanted. He gives away a magical ring as thanks, but maintains that he will continue to sacrifice the dragons and the abhorrent in order to protect the weak. Now we see a prisoner named Remedius Razzle playing chess and talking to a girl named Narisia. Back in the present, Gaius tries to enjoy some roleplay fantasies with Jiv, but is interrupted by Gigina for a mission and becomes cranky. Our heroes go to the scene of a gruesome murder and come across an overpowered ball demon, also known as Magatsu Shiki. They attack it but are unable to get through its barrier, so they change the plan and defeat the monster after an intense encounter. However, they are attacked by its tentacles, so Largankin saves them and kills the demon for good. The beast mentions something about an evening party before vanishing, and it confuses our heroes. Later, Arzel tells Gaius about the Aurora Hammer visiting town, and then he comes back to Gigina, obsessing over furniture. Gaio breaks a chair to tease him, but Gigina attacks his partner out of rage. Jiv breaks up the fight, after which we learn about Gaius' ex-lover Coelho. Now, Egerd and Queen Razzle arrive to ask for security as they are going to retrieve Remedius from his kidnappers. Our heroes meet Balak and Largankin, who offer some tips on getting the job done. But then, we see a couple of demons who are talking about executing the evening party plan. Gaius and Gigina join Queen Razzle as she goes to negotiate for her nephew with Zhuo. However, Zhuo betrays the deal and attacks everyone with a deadly poison after stealing the ransom and seemingly killed Remedius. Luckily, Gaius uses demon magic to save the team, and then Gigina helps them escape. In a flashback, Narisia tells Remedius a story about Zhuo, who is also known as the Sand Dragon. Then we see an encounter where Remedius unleashes his powers to save Narisia from an assassin, but they get caught by the evil ruler Dochetta. Now, the queen tells her heroes about Remedius loving chess and orders them to take down the Aurora Hammer as revenge. Gigina suspects something fishy, but Gaius says that they don't have a choice as they have already accepted the job. Then they get into another funny argument when Gaius messes around with a cupboard that Gigina likes. Our heroes go to Largankin, who introduces them to his eccentric team, Yakuto, Leji, and Jabira. Yakuto explains to the group what a Magatsu Shiki is, and then a hypnotized man arrives with a small box model that contains some Magatsu Shiki demons. These toys transform into the Father of Death, who is able to absorb Jushiki powers. Some of the assassins use their weapons on the demon, but it is of no use. That's when the elite warriors combine their powers to defeat the ghost, but then they meet Amupura and Galen. The demons taunt the team, but get interested when they see Gaius' ring. The villains vanish after stating that the curtain call is in 3 days, and it gets everyone thinking about their plan. Our heroes attend a funeral for those who have lost their lives, but Gigina makes it complicated when he decides to use his own beliefs to bid farewell. Gaius brings the team back on point by stating that they should focus on the enemy, and then Largankin mentions that Coelho is back in town. Gaius and Gigina spot Egert and chase him, but are led to Gohek, who is the commander of the Dragon Jaw. He tells them to stop interfering with the Aurora Hammer, so Gaius quickly points out that Remedius has sided with the criminal clan. A flashback shows the Cheta taking Remedius and Narisha as his prisoners, and then he savagely mistreats his new slave. Jiv forces Gaius and Gigina to be more friendly with each other, and then she reveals that she's going to the Razzle Island for some work. Gaius makes himself a new weapon, and learns that the gem in his ring is alive, as it might belong to a legendary dragon. Later, Largankin tries to talk to our heroes about their past colleagues, but Gaius doesn't want to think about Coelho. It gets weird for him later when he calls Jiv by his ex's name in his sleep. This causes a fight between the couple, so Gaius is asked to leave. The next day, Gigina feasts on a meal, while the team tries to figure a way to beat the Magatsu Shiki demons. Suddenly, Amupura and Galen appear and reveal that the party is a Jushiki curse that can only be stopped by the person who summoned it. Later, our heroes run into the Dragon Jaw after following a lead, and they see a projection of Zhuo, who states that Remedius was always bound to die. Then, he plays a video where Remedius says that he has created the Avador bomb that is powerful enough to summon powers from an alternate dimension. He wants to use this bomb to kill everyone who has wronged him, and his first target is the Razzle Island. It prompts Gaius to worry for Jiv, who is technically a hostage on the island now. The team discusses their plan to stop the Avador from killing all the residents, and then Gaius has an emotional chat with his girlfriend. He is determined to stop the plan and realizes that this entire conspiracy is nothing more than a giant game of chess. With time running out, Gaius quickly deciphers the clues and identifies the launching spot as a clock tower, which is an emergence point for the Magatsu Shiki demons. Our heroes reach the tower to face off against the demon monsters and engage in a fierce duel wherein they defeat all the lesser beasts. Meanwhile, Mouldeen reveals that he had once faced off against Remedius in a chess game, but is disappointed because he chose to become a dragon over a human. Now, only Galen and Amupura are left, so Galen decides to attack the team first. He is clearly overpowered and dominates Gigina, but then the others join in to fight the demon. He takes a lot of effort, and even Largankin is severely wounded, but they eventually come out on top. A flashback shows us how Narisha sacrificed herself to keep Remedius alive, and this was what held him to eventually transform into Zhuo. Now our heroes attack Amupura, but struggles against his poison gas powers. To make matters worse, he merges with Galen's remains and launches the Avador missiles. Gaius takes down one of them and uses an assist from Gigina to unleash his powers and destroy the other one. In doing so, his finisher move is also able to kill and burn Amupura, thus ending the mission. However, it is revealed that Remedius also had a third bomb waiting for them. Luckily, a mysterious person destroys it when all hope is lost, and Gaius seems to identify her as Coelho. Now our heroes crash into the island, and Jiv is finally reunited with her boyfriend. Gaius and Gigina get to spend some time relaxing with Jiv and the others, now that everyone is safe. Gaius comes up with a hilarious game that works with numbers, but his own plan backfires when he loses the first round and is about to be operated upon by Dr. Shan. Luckily, Jiv comes back to save her precious boyfriend, after which everyone has to go through some kind of embarrassment. Suddenly, Queen Zenobia summons Gaius and Gigina, and they realize that she was working with Dochetta all along. She reveals that this was Mouldeen's plan right from the start, and then she goes back to her royal duties in the presence of her cousin. Our hero spots Zhuo, who had anticipated everything till now, and he unleashes an Avador upon Zenobia and Mouldeen. He is confronted by Gaius and Gigina, who also learn that he is Remedius. But they realize he is too strong for them, so they allow the villain to leave. Later, Zhuo chats with Narusha, who is still alive in his visions. A flashback shows us how Gaius was found by Diorc and his team. He begins training with Gigina but struggles against him. Luckily, Quello comes to his rescue, so Gaius tries to flirt with her, but his methods don't work. As luck would have it, they are presented with a new target named Maslow and don't have any backup, so they decide to check him out themselves. However, Gaius messes up and is about to be killed by the demon boy. Quello manages to save him, and then she helps our hero recover. The both of them bond after he wakes up, but Gigina arrives to take them back on the mission. They find Maslow and fight him, but he gives them a decent battle. Gaius finally comes good and helps them defeat the demon boy, but Gigina wants to kill the target. That's when Quello stops him and wins his praise for her determination. This incident triggers Quello and Gaius to start dating each other, and then we're taken to the present, where our heroes go to welcome Largunkin back from the hospital. Gaius takes a moment to appreciate his lover and friends, after which we learn that Quello is still alive. And that's the end of the show. Like, share and subscribe for more content, and hit the bell icon for regular updates. See you soon!